Of the chamber right here on Citi TV. Parliament is on recess, so we spice it up a bit and shake things up, and we engage former members of parliament, get to know them better, and what their views are on current, issues in the country. My name is Duke Mentopoku. We'll take a break. When I come back, I'll introduce my interesting guest, and we'll set the ball rolling. You're welcome back from the break. This is still the chamber. My guest is former member of parliament, former deputy regional minister for the Northeast region, who was former member of parliament for Bunkprugu in the Northeast region as well. Solomon Namlet Boar is my guest. Welcome.
Thank you, Duke.
It's been a while.
Yes, we're well happy. We're around and doing fine.
Yes.
By the grace of the Almighty God.
Great.
Yes,
it's been over 2 years since you exited parliament. What have you been up to?
Before I say it, let me say a very good evening to your cherished viewers, and to also correct you that I was not a deputy minister.
You became the regional minister. Yes. Sorry, yes.
Regional minister.
You were deputy, then became regional.
I was deputy in the northern region. And by the grace of God, when the region was, when the new regions were carved out, the president saw it fit sending me to work for my people.
Regional minister, not deputy. Yes, regional.
Not deputy. Regional minister in the Northeast region. So you asked what have I been up to. I've been up to so many things, but I'm not a person that makes so much noise. Most of the things I consider them as very unofficial, but very useful to ensure that I keep my party in good shape towards breaking the 8. So I must say that it's been a very lovely period for me so far, very engaging. I do a lot of private things to also make sure that I keep body and soul. So far, I would say it hasn't been bad. It has been a very reflective period for me and any other former member of parliament, because you at least as a former member of parliament, you've known what it is to be in parliament, and I also know what it is to be outside parliament. And I see that as a learning curve, and we will continue to learn as long as we have energy in us in life.
All right, great. So where did it all start? Where were you born? Which schools did you go to? What were you doing before politics?
Yes, that's a very
loaded question.
Loaded question indeed. Yes, I was born in a village, and I always call myself a lovely village boy. But the interesting thing is that everybody's from a village.
Of course.
That's the joy. So I was born in a village under Bunkprugu, but I grew up in Bunkprugu.
Okay.
I must say, at the age of 7, then I settled in the capital of Bunkprugu. I attended my middle school in Bunkprugu after my primary school. Then moved to Tamale Secondary School, where I did my O-levels. And then from there, I went to Tamale Training College, Nanta to Tamale College of Education, where I did my post-secondary education.
Is that different from Baga Baga?
It's very different from Baga Baga.
So Baga Baga is different.
But they're all within the same
Tamale.
They're all within the reach. Then after training college, I moved to Tumu. That's where I was posted. A very lovely place for me. I will never forget of my stay in the Upper West region. Whilst there, I found it fit to also write my A-levels. So after some time, I came back to Tamale, and then I decided that it was important for me to go to the Polytechnic after my A-level, because I didn't want to. It was something that I saw it very important, because by then I had gotten a family. So I wanted to be closer to the family whilst trying to also better myself. So from the Polytechnic, I saw that there was the potential. And I had to talk to the family that let me continue to at least explore other places. And so I went to Cape Coast to do my degree. And from there, I proceeded to KNUST, where I did my MBA.
Your master's. But what did you study at UCC?
I studied management studies.
Okay.
Yes, I did management. I did management. at the University of Cape Coast. Then from there, in fact, when I was when
were you on UCC campus, or was this modular program that they ran?
Yeah, I you know this program. It was a top up after the polytechnic. You needed 2 years to top up, and then so normally you have to go there for 3 good months, and then when you are done, you go back. I think it was a very lovely period for me too. So from there I came back, but within this period, I think I was now on study leave.
Okay.
Yes, because I have to. If I look at my former employer, which will come to that, I really owe that entity a very big
At that time,
gratitude.
you had left GS.
Oh, by that time I had left GS.
Okay.
I had left GS into the NGO world.
Oh, so you were working in working in the development sector?
Yeah, I was working in the development sector as an administrator and finance person. That's why I'm saying that I really owe them a lot, because I became an accountant by, I don't know whether, how do I even put it? Because one day they needed somebody who could be the administrator as well as a finance person. And they said no. The board said that this young man, we think that he has the potential. Let's send him to Gimba. They sent me to Gimba for a full year. So I went to learn how to keep books very well for the entity. A very lovely local NGO. Things have slowed down a bit because I know, with the passage of time, so many people have left the place, and things are not the way it is. But it was one of the catchy entity that you could talk of in the north those days. Yeah. So from I think from KUSC that I decided that no, let me venture into politics.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
But before that, were there any traces of leadership right from? I mean, when you started out from primary school, middle school,
yes,
senior high school.
Yes, when I was in the secondary school, in Form 3, I was elected as the the secretary for the Tamale B-Mobile Students Union.
Okay. So
from there, the next Congress, that was after secondary school anyway, when I was at the Polytechnic, then I became the training college. I became the deputy national secretary of the Tamale of the B-Mobile Students Union nationwide.
Wow.
Then from there, I moved and became the president of the union nationwide.
Wow.
Yes, and by the grace of when I finished, the board or the leadership at that time saw that there was a need for them to really hand over the union into my hands. So I became their national patron.
Wow. Who are some of your contemporaries when you were through school, some of your classmates you remember?
Yeah, well, I think there are many. Some of them made their souls rest in perfect peace. One lovely friend of mine, the late John Bipa, he's no more, but I will never forget of him because I've always celebrated him, because when I was the deputy national secretary, before I became the national president of the union, he was the president at that time. Okay. I won't forget of Nipson Nimpaba, another very intelligent young man who is, I think he's still in the GS. Alanson Komong, Samuel Lal, Roland Tapang, who is now in the UK. Okay. I think we are all over, but so far. Yeah, but so the people, some of them who are in public life, people who are not just in the B-Mobile Association, but from whether I was KUST, UCC, Tamale, College of Education, or even Tamasco. Yeah, one of the former member of Parliament for Tamale North, right? Tamale North, Honorable Dahamani. Okay. When we were at the Polytechnic, I contested the SRC elections with him. And he beat me by 7 votes. I still remember. But he's a very good friend of mine. I've never forgotten of the election. It was so interesting. Also, at the Polytechnic, contested to be SRC president? Yes, to be SRC president. Then he was he won, and I think by 7 votes. I will never forget that, because it was a very tough election, very interesting. Even Honorable Haruna Idrisu. Okay. I think he was a year ahead of me. Okay. So at Tamale Secondary. Yeah. Okay. So he was at Tamasco before he moved to Navasco. Before he moved to Navasco, I think so. But his brother was I think he had a brother who was also a mate of mine. Then there's another young man that the name, I'm sure maybe along the line when
the name comes, you remember.
It's been a while.
Yes. Sorry for trying to take you through this.
No, but that's okay. It's very important because once in a while it's very good to go back to your early days, and then you find out how. Then you know that God has really brought you this far.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you get into mainstream politics?
What a very good question. I think that what drove me into politics, I must say, was just something that I call it so divine.
Okay.
So divine because having tested leadership positions, this was not something that was actually in my mind. But there was an instance where I went home during Xmas. I was going to greet one of my. By then I was I was working. I went to greet an old lady of my. I think an old lady in another village. So when I was passing, I got to a well. An old lady was sitting there with a bucket, okay, looking for somebody to fetch water for her because she was by a well, a borehole. Then I stopped. I asked what she was looking for, why she was sitting that time. He said, "Oh, my son, I want somebody to come and help me." I said, "But to help you to fetch water." Then I stopped. Then I pumped the diesel for some time. But let me tell you that one of the things that also drove me into politics, apart from what I'm about to tell you, was when I started doing some work for new energy.
Okay.
In the NGO sector, this entity that I was talking of, and the funding that we received was there are some fundings you receive, and when you receive that funding, you can go anywhere and be able to carry out any developmental project. But in our case, it was something special because you present a proposal that would take care of some communities or districts. Unfortunately for me, my district was not part of the districts that New Energy captured as their working area. So every time that I got home, I go to any village, it was always about water. It was about sanitation. So I kept asking myself, so what broke the camel's back and pushed me into politics was when I met this old lady. And I said, what can I do to influence development in my area? Because when I started pumping for the old lady to get water, for several minutes I couldn't get water. The water table was very low. So after some time it started coming. Then I asked myself, so if it was my mother, that would have been the same thing. I said, but don't we have leaders who could come in and at least try to mechanize some of these boreholes? It's not possible. Then it started. Something started ringing in my mind. And I said, no, I'm not going to stop at New Energy. I want an opportunity to influence something that relates to my people. That was when I decided that no, let me venture into politics. But by then, at least I was a strong supporter of the New Patriotic Party since 1996.
96, wow.
Oh yes, since 1996.
But for a part of the country where the influence of the NDC is strong.
Yes.
How did you come to identify yourself with them?
You know, I entered into politics at the time that I had, let me put it that way for want of better expression. I had my own constituency, having been a student leader.
Yeah.
For over 12 good years.
Wow.
Over 12 good years. Along the line, you understand why I'm saying this. And that's a very important question. Because when I entered politics, a lot of people started laughing at me. How can you say that you want to be a member of parliament for Bunkprugu? When I started doing consultation, greeting friends, greeting a lot of elders around, they said, no, because this is a stronghold of NDC. You will find it very difficult. I said, no, don't worry. I'm coming in with a message. I'm not coming, I'm coming on the back of MPP, a political party, but I'm coming with a message. And when I sell the message, people will appreciate it. And God being wonderful. When we went for when I went for the primaries with 4 other people, one my very good friend, an uncle of mine who is still very active and doing very well. He had laid the foundation. I have to give him that honor. One lawyer do big. In fact, the son today is the MD of ECG.
Yes. The Mama.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's the son today. But he had contested on 2 occasions and couldn't make
lost,
it.
Yeah.
And the then Bunkprugu constituency.
It was together.
It was together. So I also won. I went for primaries with him plus one other former DC, one director of education, the former director of education, and a younger brother of mine who was the regional accountant, National Health Insurance. Then God thought it wise that.
And at the time, we were working for the NGO.
I was working for the NGO because I had taken my decision. I had taken a decision that no, if they said I should leave the place, I'll leave the place. But they saw that no, they should give me the opportunity, and if I am able to win the elections, who knows, it might help better the lot of my people.
Oh, yeah.
So when the board had a meeting, they said, please, this is a local NGO, you can go ahead, but make sure that you carry yourself very well. We don't want you to go and mess yourself up and what have you. Yes. So when I won the primaries,
and this was in which year?
This was in 2012.
Yeah.
It was just the middle of 2011, before we got into 2012 and started the campaign. That was my first time, and God being wonderful, I won the elections.
The national
elections. I won the primaries and I won the national elections.
But you still have not told us what attracted you to the MPP. Well, in a place where, I mean, predominantly,
yes, you'll
be naturally drawn to the NDC.
I talked about it and said when Kufuor was the presidential candidate, and he talked about the national health insurance.
Okay.
That was what really hit me hard, and I just thought that no, I want to buy into his idea. You know why? My mother died out of a particular sickness that I want to believe that if national health insurance was active at that time, probably it wouldn't have happened.
Wow.
I will not forget of that incident, but I'll just leave it there. So that was one of the policies that drove me into MPP, and I said, no, this man is really out to do something very unique. And lo and behold, you will attest to the fact that today is the nerve center of health delivery services in this country. Yes. So that's one of the things that really drove me into politics. And apart from the fact that I also thought that no, there are several things that I could do for my people. And then as we go along, you really know what I did, even when I was in opposition, with the little experience and expertise that I got working for a non-governmental organization. Because I was talking about water. When I got into Parliament, at that time, unfortunately for me, my president couldn't make up. That's His Excellency.
But so you went to Parliament at a time that your party was in opposition.
Yes. He couldn't make it, but I said, no, this will not stop me. Between 2013 and 2014, I made sure that the water that I wanted for my people, I drilled 145 boreholes.
In opposition?
In opposition. The records are there. You can go and check. You can call anybody in Bunkprugu, they will tell you. I mechanized about 13 of them. Why is in opposition? I was linked up a brother.
Well, where were you getting the funding from your common fund?
Yes, a brother-in-law. In fact, I devoted almost everything that we could call common fund to do what we call matching fund with the NGO. And what it was an NGO that a brother introduced me to. When I saw them, I explained to him, he said, no, let's wait. Our international director is coming. When he comes, you can have a meeting with him. I had a meeting with Ken Wood, an old 72-year-old American who had been operated at that time thrice on the heart.
Hey.
And he said, no, once I am still alive, I want to touch lives everywhere. So when I met him at Afrikiko, I still remember, and I introduced myself, and he said, wow, get my country director and you talk about it. When I got the lady, she's a lady, I don't want to mention her name. I got here, and then he said, no problem, we'll partner you. Just play your part. All we need is goodwill from your people, and if you are ready to also give your little support in terms of supporting us to buy the hand pumps, we're ready to partner you. That was how the whole thing caught fire. And by the grace of God today, if you go everywhere, every village in my constituency, they will attest to the fact that between 2013 and 2016 was a very eventful period for the people in terms of provision of water that they had yearned for several years.
Okay. I guess it's Honorable Solomon. Well, I'll take a break, and when I come back, we'll delve properly into his time in Parliament. We'll take a break. You're welcome back from the break. My guest is still the Honorable MP, former MP for Bunkprugu, the Honorable Solomon Boar. So in January 2013, I suppose it should be the 7th, you were sworn in as Member of Parliament. When did the reality dawn on you that, hey, I'm here, MP for Bunkprugu, my life has changed from doing development work, NGO work, and now I'm doing politics, representative politics for that?
Yes, you are right, Duke. When we were sworn in on the 7th of January 2013, that was when officially I realized that no, I'm no more into development work. I'm now a Member of Parliament, here to represent my people. It goes with so many expectations, as you know. So I started putting everything together, bringing things from my head, what the people told me when I was moving around, what I told them when I was moving around, then I now put it together on paper and started addressing them one after the other. And I'm very sure that by the grace of the Almighty God, between 2013 and 2016, even though I was in opposition, things were not bad for my people after all, because I was able to meet them. I don't want to say halfway, but somebody in opposition, 60% half, it wasn't bad at all, because all was about providing some services for our people. And one major issue that I can see knock my head today has to do with provision of water for my people, where it was, and it's, for now, appreciably, I can say that it's far better, because when I got to Parliament between 2013 and 2016, I was able to drill 145 boreholes.
As a Member of Parliament in opposition. Well, where did you get the funding from?
That's a very good question that anybody will ask. You know, the little experience that I get in the NGO world, I realized that the most important thing was not to joke with any opportunity when it comes to networking. Okay. So a brother had introduced me. It was just a phone call that I met somebody in who is into borehole construction. If you get in touch with them, they get their support from the Western world. Maybe things might work. So when I placed the call and we agreed to meet, he said, no, please, I can only show you the way, but you need to talk to my boss in the US. But he'll be coming in 3 months' time. And when he came, Ken Wood, I will never forget about him. We had the same meeting at a Holiday Inn after lunch, and then I explained things to him. He said, my brother, these are the places that I really want to go. And God being wonderful, when they landed there, I have to thank them, and I will never forget of this NGO. I don't want to mention the name of that NGO, but they are still very relevant and doing so many things for different constituencies, communities, and what have you. So I said, no, with the little support I get called my common fund, I want to do matching fund with you, because everything in this area we are lacking, but I want to start with water. And they agreed. Little support that I had. But how much is there? Sometimes the common fund, when they say common fund, people think that it's something that is very huge. But if you are strategic, you can use it for the good of your people. If you are very selfless, you can see impact in the life of your people. And that was exactly what I did. Apart from instituting a basin policy, where I made sure that every Xmas, every Easter, students at secondary, training college level, polytechnic level, I would bus all of them home, using my common part of my common fund and my own savings to just bus them home. to make them very happy, and they are people. And because these are no little things, so they are no little things. Because people, some of them are now in working, they've started working, and once they call and say, hey, I won't forget about the bread I sent to my mother. I say, what was it? That when you gave us a bath to come home. So that's how things started playing out. I didn't also stop paying school fees for people, because before I went to Parliament, I had what we call the Boar Academic Excellence Award.
Okay.
Where every year, GSS level, those who, if you get between grade 6 and 10, I'll make sure that you are giving support. At least the first year, I'll pay your fees.
This was the pre-free SHS days.
Yes, pre-free, yeah. So I guess I started it 3 years before I even started thinking of going to Parliament. So all these things played a significant role in the life of my people. So if you ask me how things were between 2013 and 2016, this is what happened, and I'm sure that
when you look back at your tenure as Member of Parliament for Bunkprugu, what are some of the things that stand out? What are your achievements?
I think
if I say mention 3 of them in 3 areas, what would they be?
Well, I will talk about water first and foremost. I will also talk about are you talking about the first term?
No, entirely.
Yes, right.
Now
that talk about water,
you look
I will
back.
talk about providing jobs for the youth, especially jobs in the area of the security services. You talk of GRA, you talk of the audit service, you talk of the GS sector, and the local government sector, I must say. And with this, I'm not too sure I should take that credit. With the support of the president, the vice president, and the sector ministers that we had to knock on their doors for them to help us. It really worked very well for my people. And if you go there today, and you ask every community, at least you can talk about 3 or 4 or 5 people that have gotten decent, what we call decent jobs. I don't even want to talk about NAPCO. NAPCO, we were able to get about 358 of them into NAPCO, when even the national average was 350. But what up to 358 plus or so. So my tenure of office was a very eventful period for me.
So apart from jobs and water, what else?
Educational infrastructure is something I have to also, and then electricity. Because as we even speak today, if you go to my constituency as we speak, or you can place a call to anybody at all, they will tell you that in 21 communities, electrification is ongoing. You can just call anybody at all. In fact, you can even call my the one who defeated me at the polls, my younger brother, Abednego. He will tell you that actually Solomon Boar is still working, if he's very honest with himself. And with this, I have to say a very big thank you to His Excellency, the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, his vice, and that of the sector minister. The electrification is something that you know how it changes people's lives. And for them to allow that to continue, it's not something I will ever forget, and my people will ever forget. We are really very, very appreciative.
In terms of the coverage, where is the constituency at?
The constituency,
coverage of electricity.
It is, for now, I must say that if it's about coverage, when we finish with this one, I will be talking of getting to 90% plus. Wow. But yes, but for now, it's a bit low, because I have over I think I have over big large communities. There are over 60, okay. And what is ongoing now will cover up to 45 of them. Wow. Yes, because apart from Nankpanduri, Kambatiak area, and some other areas which I commissioned before we went for the elections, a chunk of the area was without electrification or without electricity, and now here we are. It's ongoing on very well. And I'm sure that by the close of October, we will begin to witness the commissioning of some of these projects all across the constituency. So,
and infrastructure?
Infrastructure, I would just narrow it to educational infrastructure. If you go to the 2 secondary schools that we have, that of Bunkprugu, I've always told people that the place is rural in nature. But if you enter Bunkprugu Secondary School today and they tell you that this is Bunkprugu Secondary School, I think the major one to be completed now is the multipurpose dining hall. When that one is over and you go there and they tell you that this is Bunkprugu Secondary School, you won't believe it. It's here like Pesek.
Wow.
Yes, it's like
we'll go there and verify.
Please do. I'll be very happy. If I don't get this feedback from you, I will not be a very happy person. Please do, and then let the whole nation hear that, yeah, this is exactly what is happening. You go to Bunkprugu Secondary School, a lot of them, infrastructure is also ongoing. Some have been completed. The dining hall is work in progress. So many classrooms are also under construction, and I'm sure under this special initiative project, when the contractors are sorted out, by the grace of the Almighty God, it will be another beautiful Sunday school to watch. So far, so good.
Okay, but so then with all this infrastructure, with all this, the solid work that you put in, how did you lose the election of 2020?
Yes, that's always a very important question that any reasonable
I'm sure you must have done some post-mortem, some analysis of what
Of course. Where it's not a one-day thing, but we keep doing it. But I can tell you for sure, anybody, anywhere can dispute it. That's the fellow's opinion. But, after we finished our primaries, the period to put ourselves together was very short. And so it created that disunity. Because once the communication is not effective among the major players, definitely it's going to affect the fortunes, especially when the constituency, I won the last elections. I beat my opponent by 284 votes when the NDC succeeded in putting their people together. The former member of parliament, a very good friend of mine, Honorable Gewel Labik, who used to go independent. He had been NDC MP on 2 occasions. And then he decided to break ties with them, went independent, won once, and continued to contest as independent person on several occasions before the party brought him back to NDC in 2016. So they fought me hard to see how they could annex the seat, but God being wonderful, it didn't work. So that's how come from 684, we narrowed it to 284. So if with all the work that we did, if we had a united front, I can tell you that it would have been very difficult.
So the primaries ended up, breaking in front.
Yes, the primaries.
You couldn't heal after.
Oh yeah, we couldn't heal after. And I've always said that it's a lesson for everyone, because no matter what, I lost major election. I spent my last resort to lose the election, but I'm still a very happy person because it's part of the learning curve. You cannot bite your party to the bone. I don't want to believe that any of them did that genuinely, or for want of a better expression, somebody gets orchestrated that. No, let's leave it as it is, and we hope that going forward, whoever becomes the candidate in 2024, we'll all put ourselves together, because it's always better to, especially with MPP, where when they come, the people's lives begin to change for the better. Then you know that this is a party that I have to continue to support. So I always give advice to people at polling station level, and then that of electoral area level, constituency level, or even national level, that if you lose an election, that's the time that your party should rather see you working very hard for that party. Because if you don't do that, one day people will ask you several questions. So as for that one, this is pro bono advice that I'm giving to everybody out there. That is, when it comes to MPP, let's know that we are a party that when we come, look at what His Excellency the President, in the midst of the challenges, what the President is doing in this country, very marvelous. And yet, people still think that no, they are expecting so much from him in the midst of the global economic challenges. So this is a party that the leadership means well. All the time that we find ourselves, we saw it in the life during the time of Kufuor. We are seeing it during this time of His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, and we'll continue to see it that way. So it is a party for the ordinary people, and we need to protect the gains by ensuring that our unalloyed support for the party is seen in all of us. No pretense everywhere. We'll move together, and I can tell you that we'll be able to break the 8.
Talking about breaking the 8, and away from why you lost, you've accounted for that, the reasons why you lost, you felt, there was some disunity in the party. Talking about breaking the 8, for the very first time in a long while, many people think that the person to lead the MPP into the 2024 election is a man from your own region, Dr. Baumia. And recently, but of course there are people in the party who disagree, being MPP, being the party that it is, a lot of people have read their heads wanting to contest. But is the MPP a party that accepts people of northern extraction? Because I'm asking this because of the brouhaha that has come up recently in view of the comments that were made by Hope Senadoye in Kumasi after that walk by Alanda has been condemned severally by a lot of people. The party has even issued disciplinary procedures against the people for going against and all of that. Is the MPP a party that has opened arms towards people from the northern?
Look, it's a very useful question, and I wouldn't. For me, when you are talking of one of my big brothers, Hosunadoye, I will even comment about it because he's entitled to his opinion. He's just an individual out of the millions of MPP supporters who are very unhappy with whatever comment that he made. But let me get back to North and tell you that today, MPP in Northern Ghana is more attractive than NDC.
Really?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I would because if look at the numbers in terms of the MPs in Parliament, because these are the indicators we use.
There's a region in the 5 regions, Upper East, only one seat.
When we're talking, you are talking of Northern.
I'm talking about the 5 regions of the north. I'm not talking about the old northern region.
If you are talking about and you are talking about southern sector, will you also talk of the regions including Volta?
Okay, I mean, of course. You are entitled to where you want to submit your analysis.
On that tangent. But I'm telling you that where I come from, in fact, even the presidential votes, it keeps appreciating when it comes to all the regions. But Northern region, the MPs, if you put that together, Savannah, Northeast, and that of Northern region, we are ahead of them. So for me to say that the MPP party is becoming more attractive than that of NDC, I will be right to say that it's very categorical because the indicators are there for everybody to see.
So you mean the old northern region, which are Savannah and Northeast?
Yes.
If you put the numbers together,
because Northeast we have 4 and they're holding 2. But for the fact that we could not all come together to put the house together, Bunkprugu and Nalewu were not seats that will lose when the vice president is coming from that area, and not just because he's come from that area, but the effort he has put so far through the at least the signature of the president that go ahead, let them do this for the people. If you look at what has happened so far, it tells you that indeed the future of the party is so bright in the north. Just not northeast alone. You go to northern region, it is the same. The infrastructure development everywhere. If you go to the Savannah, it is the same story that you can talk about. I have not had the opportunity to really go to Upper East and Upper West to know what is happening. But I've heard a lot from the party leadership, and I can tell you that Upper East, Upper West, when NDC was in power, the whole of Upper West, they could not even give them 1 kilometer of road that you call an asphalted one. They could not construct even 1 kilometer. You can yes, you can cross-check 1 kilometer. But today things are happening over there. That is His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo for you and his party in government. If you go to that of Upper East, go and see the sort of massive development that is taking place over there. The regional chairman is a very good friend of mine. Once in a while, when I meet him, he tells me that, the party, a lot of things are happening. My good friend and younger brother, the former Deputy Attorney General, Honorable Akwenka, we interact all the time. We know what is happening over there. So when we say MPP has become more attractive in the north than that of NDC, we are not just talking because we are politicians. It is the evidence that we have in our hands that we are talking of. And you can ask anybody. You are a journalist. You have access to so many people, even more than me. They will tell you that.
So you state categorically that today MPP in northern Ghana is much more attractive than NDC.
It is more attractive than NDC because of the leadership that they have found in those they consider as the political mentors of the region. For want of time, I would have chronicled a lot of people that people respect so much, and they have seen that when they talk, good things happen to their people. But let's talk about His Excellency the Vice President. What he's doing for Mother Ghana and for North is beyond description. And we have to thank the President for giving him that space to be able to bring that development to his people.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll take a break. When I come back, we'll get into the final moments of this interesting interview. We're back. Welcome back from the break. I still have with me the Honorable Solomon Boar. Honorable, we're talking about the prospects of the New Patriotic Party breaking the 8. You have not shied away from your profound liking and support for the Vice President to lead the party to break the 8. But in the midst of all of this, there's a serious challenge that his candidature confronts, in the sense that the country is in a bad place economically. The dollar to Citi rate is something else. Of course, the 9 almost heading into the 10. Fuel prices exacerbated, of course, by the depreciating Citi. Inflation is well over 30% and all of that. We've worked in the development sector. You know how it is for people to be very impoverished. You're also a finance man. You understand the interplay of economics and finance and all of that. Does this not jeopardize the chances of the New Patriotic Party? Has the MPP government under Kufuor not failed because of the current economic situation?
Even before we come to that, when you were asking about how healthy MPP is in the region, and I was giving you those indications, I can add that of my constituency, and it plays out throughout the various constituencies. That when I became the Member of Parliament, the first time that I won, when I went ahead to beat the NDC person by 684 votes, your mama had beaten beat His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, who was the candidate then, by 9,730.
What?
9,730. When we got to 2016, we managed to reduce the deficit from 9,730 to 1,730. So we got 8,000 and added to His Excellency the President. Yeah. At the time that when we went to at the time of polls, it stood at 1,730. Then when we went for the 2020 election, the difference now is 1,200. That tells you how the party is becoming attractive. A constituency that was just like Akachi for NDC in the voter region. So I just want to assure you and the public that when we say MPP is very attractive in the North, we are not just talking because we are politicians. But coming to this very important question that you have asked, the economy. For me, anytime I sit by my set and people begin to lambast the government, the president and all knows, that's democracy for you, and that is what it means to manage people in terms of their expectations, because they are always asking for more. But I am at a loss as to why people don't even want to connect it to what is happening within the global environment, because this is an import dependent economy. We don't do it. Almost everything that happens in this country comes from outside. And two top items that I can talk of is fertilizer and that of iron rods. You know better than I do as an astute journalist, all because you do your research all the time, that this country will get our fertilizer from Ukraine and Russia. Yeah. Iron rods comes from Russia. Two major things that we needed in our daily lives. Today they are at war with each other. If you have to get that into the country, you know what it means in terms of the dollars that you need, because you even get it all. The place has been blocked. Yeah. So definitely, if somebody sits today to tell you that there are no challenges in the economy, it means that
the question that will be asked is that double whammy, as it's been called internationally, affects every economy, and those that are being able to mitigate against its impact are the economies that are resilient. So if your economy is struggling, is that your economy is not resilient. And that's a product of economic management.
You see, you are not the first person that has asked this question. But let me remind Ghanaians and all of us here that if you look at the time that we exited the IMF, 2019, let me call it John Mama's IMF. When we exited, between the period and the period that COVID struck in this country, what was the period? What was the period for this government to build a resilient economy? Why are we not honest with ourselves? Where was the time? Because
it was almost a year.
What a year? It was not even up to. If it's a year, you want a country to use 1 year to build a resilient economy that can stand the test of time.
With all the competence in the economic management team.
But who says they are not competent? If you are competent and a force majeure strike you in the face, because we can simply describe what happened this COVID as a force majeure. If not, what is it that you can do? You have to throw your hands in despair? No. And that's the more why the country, and for that matter, the leadership, especially the president and his vice and the ministers, are up in arms and trying to fight the ills of of what is happening in the governance sector. This economy will recover if we are not sincere with ourselves. You see, I was thinking that almost every day when we get up, people, apart from the fact that we pour one or two lamentations, people will continue to clap hands for the opportunity that the president has given to the vice president to digitalize this economy, where we can put the systems in place. Because when the systems are in place, definitely the economy will grow. That's the most why he at one of the public forums, he said that you cannot build an economy with bricks and mortar. Let's be honest with ourselves. Yes, you have to use systems. And when that happens, I can assure you. So people should keep fit. And I'm sure that by the grace of God, things will come.
Let's go to Bunkprugu now. Are you coming back?
That's a very useful question. But any serious politician will always tell you that you don't play this game alone. You have to do a lot of consultation. You have to consult the party foot soldiers, the party foot soldiers. You have to consult the party leadership. You have to even within your nuclear family, you have a lot of opinion leaders that you want to listen to. You have a lot of friends that when you go out there are those who will say, no, I think that we missed the point. If we had this gentleman maybe for the third time, the way he started the whole thing, if we had put our differences aside and we allowed him, I'm sure that things would have happened better. So I'm not here to say yes or no. But I can assure you that I'm not a fair weather politician. I got into politics at the time that the constituency was not attractive. Even though some people had also tried their best before. And I will continue to adore
the constituency is attractive.
Yeah, the constituency is very attractive. Yes, the constituency is attractive because I've held the constituency for 2 terms, and the numbers point to the fact that yes, indeed, they were almost winning the presidential elections, and that is what brings hope, and that's what brings jobs. That's what brings almost everything. So if tomorrow you find yourself that Solomon Boar wants to go back, it shouldn't be a surprise to you anyway.
Okay, all right. In 1 minute, speak to your constituents. That's your camera. In a language that they understand.
Yes, I want to use this opportunity to say a very big thank you to every constituent of mine. They should keep faith in the Nana Akufo-Addo Bawumia government. Our hopes must be high because for me, I see light at the end of the tunnel. I see light because if you look at the development that is going across the region, and for that matter, the constituency. Today, most people don't even know that we have up to 30 communities that are undergoing electrification. In the midst of these challenges, so if you ask me whether this party is doing well or not, or this government is doing well or not, it's in your hands. You should be able to be honest with the people and say that yes, anytime MPP is in power, we see a lot of difference. Because when MPP Kufuor was in power, then we got the district, we got the constituency, and Nana came, we've gotten another district for ourselves. We have Bunkprugu, we have UU. Things are getting better, and I want to assure every Tom, Dick, and Harry that we should try and continue to keep faith in this government that we have. That's the government of the people, and we should not succumb to so much propaganda that will get us blind, that will blind us so that we don't see what is happening in our various localities. As for the economy, this is a global issue, and by the grace of the Almighty God, our leadership will certainly surmount it. We can only say a very big thank you to the leadership and hope that we will keep doing what is right and needful for Mother Ghana. And I want to say a very big thank you to Citi for reaching out to me to know what is happening to as a former member of parliament. It's something that I see as very reflective, and thank you so much.
And thank you very much to the Honorable Solomon Boar for making time to join us on set for this program, and to you out there also for spending your time watching this interview. We'll be back same time next week with the same program on the same channel. My name is Duke Mensopoko. Keep watching Citi TV.